Hardhat's all about showing up to play hard, doing what it takes to win.
If you want to cement legacy, win another.
He's your third center.
You don't want to pump him up too much, but it's hard not to.
This is maybe the most I've ever agreed with you.
Hey, Bobby Manning here from the Auerbach Center. Just one day from opening night, Celtics 76ers, Noah Dalzell alongside, and Kayla Burton's in the building.
All right.
Stopped by for a practice. What are you looking forward to tomorrow?
Oh man, kind of like this whole new team, right? I mean, just what we're going to see. When I say whole new team, I'm talking about the new faces alongside of the Jaylen Brown, the Derek White, Peyton Pritchard. I'm looking forward to the pace. I think we got a dose of that in the preseason. And just to see the style that Joe Mazzulla wants to play with this group is going to be interesting. I'm definitely interested, obviously, in the starting five. Are we going to see Peyton Pritchard finally?
Joe said not to take anything from any given night all year.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
I'm still going to take some from it.
Right. And we did hear that, too, from Joe, that we're going to probably see different rotations, see what it looks like. But just to get this thing going, we've been talking about it all off season and in the preseason. And now, Noah, it's time. Ready to get things going here.
Yeah, I think the number one thing that I'm most looking forward to seeing is the other guys that we're not sure about, because at the end of the day, Derek might go 2 for 10 tomorrow. He might go for 30, and it's not going to like completely swing my perspective on what he can give them this year, because we know what Derek White can bring to the Celtics. We know what Jaylen Brown can give. I know what Peyton Pritchard can give. Maybe not every single person out there knows, but I have my full confidence. But I think all these other guys that have impressed, Josh Minot, even guys like Ugo, who I don't know how much of a role he's going to play in the regular season rotation. That's what I'm the most curious to see, is whether those guys can show that they are impactful in real minutes, regular season minutes, and also how do they shake up against one another, because I'm not going to overdo the rotation, but we're going to see a little bit of like, okay, these are the guys that at least right now Joe trusts more than others.
So who starts tomorrow? Who's in tomorrow? Like, how many guys do you see playing?
I think they're going to play like 10 guys.
Yeah,
Does that seem right to you guys?
I could see that.
Yeah. And then
so the question I think that my mind goes to is front court. Embiid. Is it Kayla?
Yeah.
Is it?
I would say probably Chris Boucher and Kayla.
Yeah.
That's the
what I'm
biggest you
thinking
can
too.
go. And if you're ever going to go big, like I think Sam Hauser might start at the 4 at times, but if there's going to be a matchup where you want to go a little bigger, it'd probably be tomorrow.
Yeah.
And that's the lineup I like. I actually would roll with that lineup every night. I do hate to throw Sam on the bench because it feels like, oh, what's he doing there? Who's he playing with? But double bigs work for this team for a while. They do have 4 bigs in rotation who can play now that we've seen Tillman succeed. And that's another guy who's probably going to be in the mix tomorrow, too, I'd imagine.
Yeah, I like Tillman's pace. Even from the small, snippet that we got in the preseason, he mentioned that he lost the 12 pounds. He feels, you can just see it on the court. He feels like this pace that they're playing with is, it's speedy, right? It's quick. And I feel like Tillman, even not being so hesitant to shoot the 3, something that he's really been working on, just the confidence in this year, I feel like I'm seeing already in a small snippet of it. So if he can be kind of a bigger body presence on the floor, but also be kind of that stretch player where he can knock down shots, I really want to see if he can find some consistency behind the 3. And what better way than going into the season, hitting a game winner in the preseason? I know it's preseason, but just to have that confidence
No, that was fun.
definitely helps.
That was the biggest pleasant surprise of the preseason for me, is that he's back, he's healthy, he looks good, and I wouldn't even rule out him being a surprise starter. Like, he or Minot, to me, could surprise and actually play more than a lot of people think, just because of the defense, as you mentioned.
Yeah, and I think this team's identity is going to be more on the defensive end to start. Like I asked Joe I think it was last week.
Do you know they were second in defense in preseason? It was crazy.
Yeah, and I think we've all felt like, okay, offensively, they still have a lot of talent. They acquired Anthony Simons, who's a gunner. They have Peyton Pritchard, Derek White, Jaylen Brown. Like, they have guys that can score. But defensively, they lost all these versatile defenders. They lost their rim protectors. Mm-hmm. So when I was going into the season, I had more questions on the defensive end, because that seems like where they lost all their versatility. I didn't really consider how much they could just overhaul that system. And I like the new defense that they're going forward. It's going to be all about deflections. It's going to be all about doubling the ball and just being way more aggressive, way more physical. And I think Xavier Tillman fits into that really well. And he's talked openly about that in the defense that they were playing before, where you have one guy dropping back and guarding the rim, like that doesn't really accentuate his strengths. This does. So I do think he's going to play a larger role, both because of his health, but also because it just fits what they're doing much more than it used to.
I want to give a quick shout out to Prize Picks, our sponsor here on CLNS Media. Go over there and use the code CLNS for a $50 lineup when you play your first $5 lineup. Philadelphia is on deck. Joel Embiid's healthy, which I'm excited about. I hate all these matchups throughout the year where guys are out. Paul George is going to be out, but it's a good team on the other side, and it's a team that could actually be in the same spot Boston's in along the edge of the playoffs. That's at least how I see it. They're going to play this team 3 times over the first month, too. What do you see this matchup looking like?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be how do you stop Embiid? How do you guard Maxey on the perimeter? Tyrese Maxey is one of my favorite players to watch.
Same.
I think he's electric. He can shoot the ball. He can create. He's athletic. I'm not here to hype up the Sixers.
They could be good. I have a hard time predicting where they're going to be because of the health.
I feel like this is going to be a really competitive game. A competitive matchup. I don't think one team is going to necessarily get away from the other. I think it may come down to the end of it. I'm curious, even when we saw the full court press in the preseason against the Celtics, you started to see them collapse a little bit just with those new guys. Derek White wasn't out there. Peyton Pritchard wasn't out there during that time. And Jaylen Brown wasn't out there. So if you have those 3, I think, it wouldn't be as strenuous in terms of the pressure and maybe the turnovers that we saw in the preseason. But just handling the pressure, some of these new guys being able to break the press if they do press and handle the big men. I mean, if they can go double big and lock down Embiid and guard Maxey and some of these guys on the perimeter, I think it'll be a good matchup.
This is going to be a good test for that defensive style, too, No. Are they going to throw the whole defense at Embiid, just trying to frustrate him? Is it going to be double teams all night for him? That's what I'm really interested to see, because you used to have Horford. You used to have all these different guys who could guard him straight
I'm going to
up.
miss Horford on Embiid. That was one of my favorite matchups to watch, when he would all of a sudden, like Giannis, Embiid, one of those guys, and all of a sudden Horford's like 10 years younger. But honestly, I think the guy that's going to go off tomorrow is going to be Tyrese Maxey. He seems like the kind of player that is going to get the year started in opening night, have a big night. Obviously, Embiid, I think it sounds like he looked good in preseason. It sounds like he's come along, but I don't know that we're going to see. I mean, maybe I'll have to come back and these words will bite me, but like I don't know that we're going to see MVP Embiid on opening night, because he's probably going to want to ease into things a little bit. But Tyrese Maxey, I feel like he's really burned the Celtics the last few times. So who do you put on him to start? How aggressive are they going to be there? Like, I think those are the questions. And obviously, you don't have someone like Drew Holiday, who has been able to kind of close the gaps on the guard defensive side as well. So everybody has to kind of be more laser focused on that end.
So I'll ask 2 questions before we wrap it up here as the NBA season gets started tonight. What are you most excited about from the Celtics? What are you most excited about around the league? And for me, with the Celtics, it is Pritchard. I'm stealing Noah's take. I did it last night. I think the sky's the limit for him this year, and I'm thrilled it looks like he's going to start. So is he just a sensation this year? I think it's possible with the amount of opportunity he's going to have. And then around the league, the Magic. We were around them first round. Paolo, Tatum, that connection. He looks like he's next up among the young stars in this league. And I think this is a huge year for him with a team that it can actually contend in the East. So 1 Celtics, 1 NBA.
Okay, 1 Celtics. I'm mostly excited to watch Derek White. And I'm really bullish on Jaylen Brown and all the hype that he's getting, and I believe well-deserved, and we'll see how it plays out going into the season. But I feel like D. White has been a little bit underestimated or talked about throughout this preseason, and even just going into this year. He just talked about having a more complete, full off-season, having more of a restful summer. So I'm excited to see what D. White can do. I know the pairing between him and Jaylen will be exciting, but specifically for him, his role, the shot blocking, the defensive hustle and effort, but also what he's able to do behind the perimeter and then attack mode. I think a full, complete D-White season, even without Jason maybe early on, don't sleep on D-White is what I'm saying. Around the league, this is going to sound sad, but I think GSW. I want to see.
That was going to be mine.
I want to see Al Horford. It's still like sickening and heartbreaking to see Al with Steph and all these guys and just wearing those colors that just are not the green that we like to see Al in. But even, just when we see Al again and just him in those colors and seeing Golden State with Al, I'm curious to see how he fits in. I think he'll fit in nicely because Al is Al. He can fit in anywhere. But yeah, I would say Golden State with Al.
All right, you got to pick a new one now.
I'm going to build off that one. I think, honestly, Golden State is such a fascinating team because not just Al's addition, and obviously he's of the guys that have departed, he seems like he's the closest to have gone to a contender, but also just that team in general was so fascinating last year. After adding Jimmy Butler, they were so good. And then I think everybody forgets that Steph Curry missed the playoffs. And, and as soon as he got hurt, that team lost its entire identity. I mean, I don't think any team is as reliant on one player in this league maybe as the Warriors are on Steph. So I think this team actually has the ability to be a real contender, and Al's going to fit in beautifully. It's probably going to annoy Celtics fans who tune tune in, but by far they're the team that I'm the most excited to watch next year. And honestly, some people know this, but like I love watching the Warriors play in general. So I always like to tune in and kind of see what their 3-point heavy offense. I think Steph's one of the most exciting players ever. So adding Al to that mix and seeing how him and Steph can kind of build a little give and go game.
Lethal.
I think so. And then as far as the Celtics go, obviously all the guys you mentioned are super exciting. I think the thing I'm the most intrigued by is the front court, just because we've talked about it like it's this gaping weakness all summer, and how could we not when you look at the resume of those guys versus the resume of who you lost. But it's a massive opportunity, and I know, Bobby, you've been going around asking some of those front court players, Kayla, Luka Garza, Xavier Tillman, about this idea that they're maybe being overlooked or not considered. And it must be so motivating for an NBA player to know, like, hey, the three of us, we've never really played, or we've never gotten much of an opportunity.
But the answer is funny.
Now
like,
we get a chance.
It's not like, oh, we hate that we're being overlooked, and everyone. They just say they want to play.
Right, because how you can't really be like, how could you overlook us? It's like, well, you haven't played. That's why
right.
We don't know it. Like, I don't have anything against Luka Garza's game, but he just hasn't played a lot in this league, so it's just a big question mark. So I'm really excited to see how those guys shape up. Somebody's going to step up, right? It's not going to be like they're all perfect and they're all now all-stars, but there's going to be a guy from that pack that we're all like, wait a second, this guy can really play. And I'm just curious to see who that's going to be.
She's Noah Dalzell. Check out her work over on SB Nation, Celtics Volume, of course, right here on CLNS Media. Kayla Burton's got all the coverage. You guys are doing a pregame, I'm sure, tomorrow on NBC Sports Boston.
We'll be there live on the concourse, so come pack the house, come join.
You're in the building.
So we're in the building, set the tone right. We want to see you guys come crowd around us. We got Forsberg, the whole crew, all PGL will be there.
I won't ask to pick and choose, but we'll be outside. We'll be somewhere doing our pregame show as
different
well.
Time.
Media.
Oh, yeah.
Different
we're
times.
around like 6 o'clock.
I think we're 6 o'clock or so.
Yeah.
So, you see a little bit of both. Check out us and Kayla down there for CLNS Media and Celtics All Access. I'm Bobby Manning. Celtics Sixers tomorrow, 7:30. A new NBA season gets underway tonight, and the Celtics tip off their season tomorrow.